Here's Brody Brazil.
Major League Baseball owners definitely sent a message when they voted unanimously 30-0 to approve the A's relocation application to Las Vegas. But there's also something else interesting they did, which kind of goes against that. It's setting a flip tax, imposing a restriction on the A's if, in fact, their owner, John Fisher, decides to sell the team before, during, or shortly after a relocation to Las Vegas. Now, this initially came out a day or so following the owners' meetings concluding in Arlington, Texas. Bob Nightingale of USA Today did the original reporting. He also followed up with some exact figures that were not made public. This is essentially kind of a leak situation, so kind of goes back to that unanimous vote again. If everybody was so for this, why would something like this come out and be exposed like it did? Here's the original reporting of what Bob Nightingale said. While the A's franchise is expected to rise in value with suite sales, advertising, and ticket revenue from Las Vegas casinos and resorts, MLB owners inserted a binding protection provision in the contract before approving the deal, and essentially protecting baseball owners and the league in general as a business from the A's going ahead and turning around and selling the team for a gigantic profit because all of a sudden it's worth a lot more than it was before the move. If Fisher decides to sell the franchise soon after moving to Las Vegas to make an immediate profit, he will be, quote, heavily taxed on the sale, which will be split among his fellow MLB owners, according to another owner who spoke to USA Today Sports on the condition of anonymity. So that came out. That had everybody at least paying attention, but also wondering, like, what are the amounts? What's the amount of time? How many years? How long will this tax last? What's the tax amount? What percentage is it? Well, via Bob Nightingale, we also now have that. He called it an intriguing caveat to this entire deal, which basically secures John Fisher as the owner through this process unless this tax gets applied to a sale. The agreement, an executive told USA Today Sports, requires Fisher to retain the team until at least 2028 when they're scheduled to open in Las Vegas, because if Fisher sells before 2028, he'll be taxed 20% of the purchase price, which will be split among baseball owners. So that's before 2028, or before and during 2028. If Fisher sells in 2029, he'll be taxed 10% of that same sale price. If he sells between 2030 and 33, he'll be taxed a decreasing amount each year. So we don't know that exact number, but we figure it goes from 10 to 7 to 5 to 3. He will be unable to sell the team without being taxed until 2034. A full decade that Major League Baseball is locking in the A's ownership to their team. Now, that's interesting. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how this could play out, what hurdles and obstacles and challenges there might be, price increases on a stadium, interest rates might shoot through the roof before this loan actually happens. It's still unclear a few things here. The flip tax, does it only apply to a majority sale situation? For example, what if John Fisher, entire owner of the Oakland A's, goes out and sells 49% of the team? He's still the majority owner after that point, but is that tax amount applicable to selling a certain percentage, a share of the team? Or does he have to share or sell more than 50%? Does he have to sell a majority share? Can he allow anybody else to buy in? Because look, you would think going to Las Vegas, becoming part of a new market, all of the cash flow that's going to be necessary to build a stadium, fund a roster that needs to compete, not only in baseball, but also for attention, and also to pay off the rest of the Coliseum site, $45 million they owe within the next 6 months. There's a lot of payments to be made here. So it wouldn't come as a surprise to move to Las Vegas, take on some new owners as part of the bigger picture. But does the flip tax only apply to a majority sale situation? I'm not sure about that, but I'm here to ask about it. The other part is that what if the team was sold for some reason before they actually made any move or started any construction, and if the purpose of that was to stay in Oakland? Like all of a sudden you found out that the $380 million of public funding in the state of Nevada. What if this summer Schools Over Stadiums goes out, secures all the signatures, There's a referendum on the ballot in November of 2024. Nevada votes no on the public money, and now that's gone. And now the A's ownership says, you know what, we can't do this anymore. We thought it was going to be this way, and things have changed. We want out. We'll sell to somebody else. And we'll sell to Oakland because we want to get out of this entirely right now. We can't do this. So what if a team was sold before they actually made the move, before they actually made the commitment? They've got the approvals, but they haven't technically made the commitment to the wheels moving forward. There's no shovel in the ground yet. So does this mean, like the flip tax, does it mean that the A's ownership as of right now are the ones that absolutely have to see moving this thing through to Las Vegas? Is that the way it goes? Because you wonder about that flip tax, and right, we'll play the numbers here. We'll play the percentages out for you. Let's say in 2028, and I guess I could have done this really in 2025, 6, or 7 because it's all the same amount. It's that 20%. So if a team in 2028 or before sold for $2.2 billion, which is about $1 billion more than their value right now, but could easily reach that amount by 2028, the flip tax would be $440 million to Major League Baseball. And when you divide that among the other 29 teams, it's only, I say only, $15.1 million per team. So it's not really for the teams to benefit by some great amount. What owner wouldn't take $15 million? I think they'd all take $15 million, but it's not about that part, right? It's about the penalty here that the A's would be paying to sell. $440 million would be the flip tax if it was a $2.2 billion sale in 2028 or before. In 2029, it goes down to 10%. If the team at that point sold for $2.4 billion, easy math, $240 million flip tax to Major League Baseball. It's $8 million and change per team. 2031, which again is the farther we get away from this, the less it really makes sense that a sale would take place. There's just less confusion at that point. You'd think things would be more settled. 2031, let's estimate a $2.7 billion team value. It's $189 million flip tax if it's down to 7% by that point, which equates to $6.5 million per team. That's not a lot in those days. Again, this is less about those teams benefiting. It's more about a potential penalty to the A's if, in fact, they were going to flip or move and flip and obviously sell and try and profit. So a lot of things going on here. Some parts that we do understand, some parts that don't make sense. I know so many fans are unanimously for the A's staying in Oakland. The MLB owners are unanimous in allowing it to happen. But then they also throw in this flip tax, which is kind of a wrench in this situation, and there's not even 100% clarity on it. And why does it exist? And why did it have to get leaked? Why wouldn't the commissioner have spelled this out in a press conference or some type of documentation? Why does it take an anonymous source to Bob Nightingale of USA Today for something like this to come out? You made it here to the end of the video. You know I appreciate that. Thumbs up down below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so I can definitely see you back here next time.